is, if you look it up, if you were to Google it, like a homeless person's natural predator is a drunk white girl. And so we literally saw drunk people stumbling up
it's crazy
to the homeless people, talking to them. We're like, stop. This is one of those moments where you're like, stop. So that happened. And Jay and I were like, okay,
here we are.
This is ridiculous. And let's talk about this on stage. So we started to say like, we just became these two and improvised as these two drunk girls, like to a homeless person, a fictitious homeless person laying. We like go to the edge of the stage and we're like, can you take our picture? Can you do it landscape? And Jay's like, portrait. I'm like, you can do portrait in landscape. He's like, I didn't know you could do that. I'm like, what's the Wi-Fi password in your tent? Because I'm getting nothing out here. I'm getting no service. What's that? You have no energy because you've been walking around. Her phone is at 3%, so we get it. We get it. So we started improvising as that.
You should go into low power mode, like my phone.
I think he's in low power mode. We might use that.
Please do.
So thank you, Sand. And so that's where it started. That's where it started. And then we were talking and we kind of had another punchline that then flew in. And we were like, okay. So then we started to do that and then do more of the bit after it. And we're like, no. This is what has to end the bit. Like the other punchline that flew in. Mm-hmm. So the other punchline flew in was, so what we said was, all right, we need to take advantage of this because they're obviously not going to move the bars and they're not going to move the homeless shelter. So what can we do? We got to help the homeless shelter out. That's who we're really angling for here. Drunk people are dumb. What we need to do is hope. So here's what we're going to do. Get a velvet rope for the homeless shelter. Hire a guy who looks like a bouncer. Give him a headpiece earpiece that goes to nowhere.
Yep.
Give him a clipboard and then just charge $25 for like drunk people to go into the homeless shelter and wander around, and they'll come back out and all the money goes to the homeless shelter. And they'll come out and they'll just be raving about how great. Oh my God, have you been to shelter? It's amazing. And then we started. So the next joke we always told is, I think it's from the same people who do Greyhound. So that was the joke. And we were like, so that's what we had. And that was the thing. And we're like, how do we build more? Because this could be longer. This little act out that we're doing could be longer. So it was all born out of seeing this one thing right here. So we get it on stage and we start talking about it and we talk about it with friends and whatnot. And like we're riffing with friends. We get the low power mode comes in, like those types of jokes come in. And we started to say like, it's an amazing club. Like I saw a guy wearing open-toed sneakers. They were Avias. It was amazing. Yes. Jay's like, did you eat in there? I was like, I got soup. They gave me soup. They didn't charge me anything. And then I got tired. I got laid down on a cot. You can bring your dog there. Like all these things we started to do. And suddenly now this has grown into like a really great 3-minute bit about
fun.
So that is one way that we write.
I love that you guys, I think it's so awesome because we're on our own, that's why I use a piano. It's like to bounce shit off in moments. Thank you. But I love that you guys just get to hang out together and like,
that's a good one. And we have each other. And
so
I feel
cool.
like
I love doing that.
To sort of double team a thing and then kind of talking to each other. There's always like weird interactions.
You have like a shared mind, right? What's that improv term? It's like, we shouldn't bring
collective unconscious.
Collective unconscious.
Yeah, something like that.
It exists. But like here's another example of how we wrote a bit, how a bit came to be. So we went downtown to do Crane's Comedy. I'm sure both of you have done that show, which is a great downtown show, Harry Morrow's show, down in this old bank vault or whatever it is, like a Chinese down below a Chinese restaurant. It's this really cool bar. Great audience, great audience. You go up, you do your stuff. It feels so good. I love it. So we did this show and then afterwards, I mean, all I wanted to do was just hang out. But of course we're like, we have a spot up in the main room at the Comedy Store and on a Wednesday night and you're following David Spade and Sebastian and Chris D'Elia. I mean, it's like Crush City, all these guys, and they're amazing, but they shouldn't be followed. Like Sebastian just sold out 4 nights at Times, not Times Square, at Madison Square Garden. It's like, these are people that shouldn't be followed. And then there's no host. So like they're bringing you up. So we got up there after we had just had this killer set, basically tried to do all the same material that we did down there, up there at the store, and just ate shit. We ate it. And we were like, not for us, we ate shit, which was like, got about 30 or 40% on things. So some things were okay, but we were living in the moment. It was so different from what we had just done. And we got off stage and we're like, motherfuck, like what just happened there? Like what, we've been doing this for so long and we're like, we belong on that stage and like we should be doing well. It's like every situation we should be able to walk in and do. And we're just like racking our brains. And we realized like we have to do something to clear the air from what was just there before us, to wipe the slate clean.
Give it up one more time. Well, those things are little tricks.
We need
palate cleanser.
Right. We need something that a host would do.
Right.
Like we need to jump in and do that. And so we're like, we need to do something. And we had been toying around with this idea of messing with the audience, of like figuring out the energy of the audience, and just like, you saw us do it on your show. We're like, okay. What do we got up here? Let's check check the energy of the room up here. Where my dudes at? The dudes like clap. And so like already you got them in a different thing.
Yeah.
Already you've wiped it clean. Where my ladies at? Now, you're gonna let them do this to you? They already gave you me too. You're gonna let them do this to you?
Yeah.
Like start a little thing. Okay. Where my gender fluids at? And it's usually silent.
Yeah.
Like you're on the spectrum, but you're not here tonight. Let's go. Where are you at? Then where my single moms at? It's like we start, and this is like a joke bucket. You can just, where my single moms who like woke up this morning and looked in the mirror, was like, this shit is hard.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
It's good.
And so suddenly, and then it becomes about that. Where are my dudes? And the dudes cheer. Went on a camping trip with their best friend. It's like, now you're in this whole story.
Funny bit.
It's cold out. You said it, and I jump in the same sleeping bag for warmth. And like, we get into this and the audience is like right with you. They've just been screaming and yelling, and you're like, where are you at? And again, we go into like a few more of these, but that has helped us. So the next time we went up there, we're like, are we going to try? We're backstage at the Comedy Store in the main room. We're literally behind that curtain. And I'm like, do we do it? We're so felt bad about the last time we were standing on that stage 2 weeks before. Again, I think we were following Neil Brennan, who was following Sebastian, these are killers. These are great. And we were like, oh, I don't think we're going to do it. Let's not do it. And we got out on the stage. I'm like, I don't know if we should do it. I don't know. I mean, it's a bit of a risk, and we didn't do well the last time. Do you really want to like lead with something we've never done before? And we got out there, and I just made the call in the moment after we had just said we're not going to do it. And I just launched into it and started doing it. And it like got laughs, and
it's fresh though that way.
Fresh, and it changed the molecular structure of the room in that way. And it just was really fun. And so it was kind of born out of the necessity to do something. And now we take it out on the road, and that's how we start on the road.
It's like a great opener.
It's a great opener.
Unbelievable.
And do you find that you're writing towards like parenting and stuff more now that you're older dudes than when you were younger? Obviously, is that your audience has gotten older? Or?
I think they have, and definitely people with kids are great. But we kind of, it's funny because we don't want it to all be about parenting.
Sure.
We really don't, because we still have fans that don't have kids, and we have younger fans who grew up watching like Cheap Seats with their parents. Like they were 15 and now they're 28, 29. They don't have kids. And it's like, you don't want to, in the same way that, hey, we're liberal dudes, we don't want to go down to Dallas, Texas and do all of our material about what a shit heel Trump is. It's like,
well, he's not that bad.
That's true. Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
exonerated recently.
He's no Rob Ford.
Have you been exonerated of anything
He wasn't
lately?
fully exonerated.
Okay, but that's what the liberal media would want.
Have you read that report?
No. Has anybody?
No, literally no one.
Oh, by the way, we're an alt-right podcast.
Has Attorney General Barr read that report?
Sure, he went to the bar.
I think
absolutely.
But the point is that like we don't want it to all be
one thing. No.
And as we craft this next hour, we're probably like 12 minutes away from the next hour that we want to do. We're very acutely aware of like, let's get 12 minutes that aren't about parenting. Let's specifically do comedy that isn't, because we do have stuff in the middle about, a bit about my kids wanting guinea pigs and, that whole experience of just how we got them and why we got them and how much I tried to hold it off and what I used to hold it off. And there's a whole thing about Fortnite, which, by the way, actually appeals to people who are younger because they play Fortnite. And then Jay.
Well, that goes all the way up.
That goes
If you're
up.
a single dude in your 40s, you probably play Fortnite.
Right. So we talk about just how Fortnite has checkmated him into being an uncool parent because he's just constantly telling his kid to get off the game.
How old are his kids?
He's got a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Boys or girls?
10-year-old boy, 5-year-old girl.
And so he has younger kids. So when your kids interact with his kids,
They love him.
is it like they're all siblings?
Yes.
Do you get them together a lot?
We try to get them together. Like
Do you do Shabbat? Do you do like a little
We
thing?
don't, but like we try to on the weekends and stuff. We try to get them together. Like I brought my daughter out to see his son's baseball game, and like he brought his son and daughter to come see my daughter in a play, and like we try and get them together. They love the siblings love each other, like the cousins love each other. So like it's funny because my youngest daughter and his son are only about a year and a few months apart, year and 4 months apart, but they're 2 grades apart in school. So she's in 6th and he's in 4th because we kind of pushed her ahead a little bit, and he's like a December birthday, so he's mid-range in the 4th grade in terms of age. And they are really close, really, really, really close, to the point where they fight. Like they fight like brother and sisters sometimes fight. Whereas my oldest daughter would never fight with them ever. She like takes care of them and them both. But they both love the little girl. They just love her.
My wife's dad is a twin. When she was 6, they love to fuck around and just joke.
Well, I'm glad you finished that.
Just say they love to fuck.
I was like, what?
Fuck.
Weird place to talk about this.
Get it?
They
Literally.
twins who love to fuck, they get it?
They get how to fuck.
These guys get it.
They're 50. She's 6.
They're 50. She's 6. They love to fuck.
Around
on each other.
Oh yeah, it's just joking. It's not actually. Oh, we lost Sandy on the podcast. Everybody, this break from Sandy was brought to you by pedophilia.
I'm pedophiling you.
Oh God, dad joke alert. Whoop, whoop.
Pedophiling you.
Oh,
The new album from Def Leppard.
I was watching Leaving Neverland this afternoon.
Were you really?
I was.
Can I tell you my Leaving Neverland bit that doesn't work on stage, but I just think it works way better when just talking to people?
Drop it like it's a 6-year-old boy. Okay.
Drop it like your pants and then look at that Peter Pan poster.
Yep, that's it.
We
just lost our sponsors.
I was New York Seltzer. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Soundbite.
So I was watching it. I do love New York Seltzer.
That'll go in the sizzle.
I love it. I was watching Leaving Neverland and by myself, and I have never done this in my entire life. I was so mad. I was like so mad. Maybe it's because I was a parent, but like every single time a parent said something that like led to more stuff happening to their kids. Like, the Australian woman was like, we just thought it was, it was okay for him to share the bed with Michael. I got up and went over to my TV. Like, no one can hear this. I went over to my TV, to the woman on the TV, and I was like, no. I was like, no. I was pacing around my house. I was like, no. And I just I'm talking to my TV. I've never talked to my TV before in my life. Yeah, we just picked up and we moved to the United States because I thought it would be a great thing. No! I'm literally pacing back and forth and yelling at my TV. And Jason was like, so as Michael Jackson was getting whiter, you were getting blacker.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I was. I literally have never done that before. And I was like, I get it. This is like liberating. Yeah. Why don't white people do this more?
Yeah.
It's
like
wonderful
talking back, and they'd be like, and so, we just didn't see anything wrong with it. I see something wrong with it. Everybody here does. I mean, like,
let me ask you something. No matter how rich, would you ever let somebody buy you a house?
No. The second that you're like, Michael Jackson, a grown man, is talking to my 7-year-old for 7 hours on the phone. something is wrong.
Yep.
That is like everybody's I don't care that it's the 80s. I just don't care. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like people were idiots.